Hello and welcome to Property Money Trees Maximising Property Values, the once a month show where I break down the steps of how to recognise, enhance, and then extract the values in property in order to create wealth. Would you like to find out how you can benefit from the steps of maximising property values? This is even if you don't own a property yet or have a deposit. If that's a yes, then you're in the right place to find out. My name is Patricia Faber, and although many know me for my work as a solicitor, on this show you will be getting the benefit of my 30 plus years worth of experience of maximising property values, experience which has given me a net worth in millions. So who might benefit from listening to this show? Literally anyone with an interest in creating property wealth.
Welcome back. Today I'm going to do a mentorship case study. So it's a property that these particular mentees, so they are both directors in a company. So they have just bought their first buy-to-let property, which I mentored them through. And we're literally in the process of letting that property out. I'm just so impressed with these ladies. I am doing a case study about their property. So we signed up in October of 2021. So it's been about 18 months now, which is okay. Because the agreement was I would see them through to success. It's not about the length of time, but it's about them succeeding in what they actually set out to achieve, which I think they've done in spades. So let's start. It was a flat, so it was a studio flat, short lease for a renovation, and we were going to convert it from a studio to a one bed. And in fact, most of the time that they've had with me has been in us fighting the freeholder, who thought that because we applied to him to alter the flat, that we should give him some money. I'm saying we, because when I mentor people, I literally am in partnership with them. And their success is my success. I want them to succeed, just as I would want myself to succeed. So, you will hear the we a lot during this podcast, and it's not the royal we. It's just that I literally just see myself as being part of their business going forward. Anyway, so we fought that and, stood our ground and said, no, you're not entitled to any money over and above, your admin expenses, which we'd agreed to pay. Anyway, in the end, I think he was properly advised and he backed down. And actually what we did was we just said, so that he can save face, because at the end of the day, they're going to have to deal with him going forward. We said, look, we're not going to pay the £5,000 that you're demanding. We're just going to pay £1,000. And that was acceptable, even though he wasn't entitled to a penny. But, you have to pick your battles. And it was also thinking about the future and trying to just make sure that their relationship going forward wasn't going to be too difficult a relationship. So we found that property. It was actually during a call that we had, and I was taking them through various options, and we found this particular one. And I said, well, what about this one? They liked it. They went to view it. They videoed their viewing, sent it to me. I said, yeah, I think that's really good. I think we can make this work. Spoke to the agents on their behalf to make an offer. We worked out the figures, crunched the figures. They seemed to work. Made the offer. Just let the agent know that I was there in their corner, and the agent didn't have anything to worry about as far as they were concerned, because the agent was thinking, this is supposed to be a cash purchase and they're not going to be purchasing it for cash. And I said, look, don't worry about it. They're tapping into my broker who, does this all the time. He can get them the money. So that all went through. Introduced them to my solicitor, who I've actually ditched now, but at the time they were flavour of the month. Then everything went through, and introduced them to my builder. So it was a builder of mine that actually did the works for them, And, he could have done the works a little bit better, but, needs must. We wanted the works done as soon as possible to a certain standard, and he was available. And he did actually do it. He did it quickly. I think he finished within about 6 weeks or so, probably 6 weeks, no more than 8 weeks anyway. And then we went into staging, and the ladies now know how to do everything. Do you know what I think is very commendable about them is they just wanted to learn and learn and learn and learn, and they have learnt loads. Like sometimes they'd ask me a question and I'd answer, and then they'd giggle and say, yes, we knew you were going to say that. And it's just been an amazing and very rewarding and pleasurable relationship that we've had. So anyway, so this flat that they bought. So when the valuer went in to value it, this is what he wrote. He said, and I'm quoting now, sustainable market rent equates to 875 per calendar month, stroke 10,500 per year, and is supported by the comparable evidence, which ranges from £800 to £875 per calendar month. In terms of the property valuation, the valuer has said, in areas such as this, it is not appropriate to value on a price per square metre basis. The comparable evidence ranges from £188,000 to £228,000, and we consider its full market value with a long lease to be £180,000. According to published information, the 67-year lease equates to approximately 80 to 90% of the full value of £180,000. We have been advised that the purchase price is £147,500, and we consider, based on this calculation, that this is supportable. The range being £144,000, 80%, to £162,000, 90%. Our assessment of the sustainable market rent equates to £875 per calendar month. Now, they then spent roughly £34,000 on the renovation and the furniture. So everything all in, £34,000. Now, I've just done a property data valuation of that same flat, and that's coming up at £250,000. Now, the lease is still short, but I reckon they can get that lease. I can't remember what figures we put down for the lease extension, but they're going to be irrelevant anyway, because what the ladies decided to do was to not extend at the point of purchase, but to wait for 2 years or go down the informal route. Now, considering that the freeholder actually wanted, a backhander of 5,000 just because they were, wanting to alter their flat, I think he's going to be a nightmare to deal with if they wanted to extend the lease informally. But that is a business decision that only they can actually decide. But if they wait another 2 years, then they will then be able to go down the statutory route, which is the route that I personally prefer. But again, it's not a one size fits all. It just depends on the circumstances, who you're dealing with, and if the freeholder is going to be fair. So it may well be that this freeholder is actually desperate for money, in which case it will be easier for them to actually negotiate a fair price for the lease extension. But that to one side, because that is not what's happening right now. I reckon they can probably extend that lease for about 18 to 20 odd £1,000 without me going back to lease-advice.org to key the figures in. So current valuation at roundabouts like 250, let's say lease extension under the 20, that brings them down to 230. £230,000. They bought the flat for 147, so let's say that's 150 to 30, that's £80,000, and they've spent £30,000, £34,000 really, to do with the works. That is roughly £50,000 that they have been able to add by way of value to that flat by just doing what they've done. And you have to remember that prices are a bit depressed at the moment, because this is being recorded in April 2023. So this is the podcast that's going to be released, on the 1st of May, 2023. So they're doing pretty well. It is just amazing. Now, on the rental side, we have gone to open rent. Now, remember, the valuer was saying that the value of a flat was 875 per month. 875 per month for that flat. And he said the ranges are actually 800 to 875 per month. But that would have been for a studio flat. It's now a 1-bedroom flat. So we've put it onto open rent at 1,400. So the photographer came round. We did the staging. I was there cleaning up their hob because it was all smeared where they'd cleaned it. And they didn't quite appreciate that, when you've got a photographer coming in, everything has to be near enough perfect. But that's the fun of actually taking people through the stuff that, perhaps a more experienced person, has done and knows, about and knows what they have to do, because people just pick up. And that's why they came to me for mentorship. Anyway, so the photographer came around. The pictures are amazing. I will be sharing them on my Insta as well, and they're going to be sharing theirs on their Insta. But it just absolutely superb. So anyway, so that's all happened. They again tapped into my EPC person. We did all the EPC stuff. So the external walls were insulated. They changed the boiler to a condensing boiler, changed all the old windows to double glazed. So there were sash windows there. It's not a conservation area, not a listed building. So with costs being what they have been for the last few years, they opted to go for UPVC sash windows. From the outside, you would not know. But in terms of, energy efficiency, they are amazing. So the new windows are in, and all of that. And they've got their EPCC. So they don't need to worry about EPCs for the next 10 years. The building regs guy has signed them off. They've got their gas certificates. They've got their, again, the place was completely rewired. They've got their electric installation condition report, which will last them 5 years because it's a new rewire. It's just simply amazing. I'm so excited for them because you see, and these ladies are relatively young, I guess, from where I'm standing anyway. And when you see young people just break into this very difficult market, and they look to be succeeding, you can't but have a smile on your face. I'm just so delighted for them. Anyway, so we put the property onto open rent actually literally yesterday, and they've already had, if my sums are actually accurate, I think they've probably had about 5 people come to them already, and these people can afford to live there. So we put it on for £1,400, £1,400 a month. And obviously whoever takes the place is going to be paying bills as well. And, the people who are contacting them are earning in the 50s, £50,000, £52,000, £51,000. Chances are one of these people is actually going to be taking the property, and if not one of them, there will be somebody, because with the number of people actually inquiring about the flat, it just goes to show that the price is not wrong. It is from the pictures, and the pictures are precisely depict what the flat itself is, and people are saying, yeah, that is a good price for this flat that we're seeing in pictures. And obviously they'll come round, they'll have a look. The communal areas are a bit because the guy downstairs has decided to store his plasterboard sheets in the hallway, but we'll talk to prospective tenants about that. So I'm actually, their first viewing is tomorrow, so I'm going to go there and kind of like take that viewing for them so that they can see how you actually go about doing a viewing, because obviously we're not using an agent, this is open rent. So it's like DIY, do it yourself. You can actually get them to do viewings for you via open rent, but the whole point of this mentorship is that they learn as much about property as they can from me during the mentorship period. So we're doing this the way that I normally do it. So I conduct viewings myself when I use open rent, and you can literally just tell. So they've now got a capital valuation of roughly about £250,000. They bought the property for 147,500. Rents were valued by the valuer at the time at 875, and by doing what they've done, chances are they're going to get that 1,400. So I'm just so proud of these ladies, and I just wanted to. I'm not mentioning their names. I'll let them, join the dots, on their social media. But I am just so proud of them, and they do listen to this podcast, so you know who you are. I am really, really proud of you. Well done. You are on your way to making, good money from property, creating generational wealth, and you have just proven, the point. Because for you, you've just maximised your property values, both on the capital side and on the income side. So well done, ladies. Well done. Really proud of you.